Let's settle this right now. Is the 2026 Honda Civic a smart buy, or is it resting on the brand's old reputation? Forget the glossy brochure. Today, we're putting on the mechanic's gloves and getting our hands dirty with a proper technical breakdown. We're looking at what's new, what works, and what might keep you up at night if you own one. And I'll show you the one major flaw in an otherwise brilliant SUV that almost nobody talks about. This is your no-nonsense review from Winds of Thought. Welcome to a real, nuts and bolts look at the 2026 Honda Civic Hybrid. We're starting where every good inspection starts, under the hood. For the hybrid models, you get a 2.0-liter four-cylinder engine. It's naturally aspirated, which is a smart, reliable choice for this application. Let's talk construction. Up top, you have a plastic valve cover, but it's a smart design. See this extended section on the side? We'll come back to that. Underneath, it's a dual overhead cam setup. On the intake side, Honda uses an electronic variable valve timing system. Think of it as a small electric motor that directly twists a gear to advance or retard the timing. It's elegantly simple, no oily solenoids to clog, just clean electrical control. The exhaust side uses a more conventional oil pressure actuated system. Crucially, this engine uses a timing chain, not a belt. That's one less major service item to worry about long term. Now, here's something mechanics will love: the exhaust gas recirculation system. The EGR valve and cooler are mounted right here on the front of the engine. In a world where manufacturers love to bury these parts in the depths of the engine bay, Honda's approach is a breath of fresh air. You could have the valve off in 5 minutes, the cooler in 10. It's a testament to thoughtful, service-friendly engineering. Why can't everyone do it like this? The engine is direct injected only. I always prefer the added cleanliness of a dual injection system, but here's a clever bit. The high-pressure fuel pump is driven by the camshaft, but instead of being mounted on top of the valve cover where it's in the way, it's attached to the side extension we saw earlier. This means you can remove the valve cover without touching the fuel system. A small detail that makes a big difference for technicians. The cooling system is refreshingly straightforward. A classic thermostat housing, no complex valve assemblies. The water pump is electric and mounted externally, a common and reliable design in modern hybrids. Of course, there's no serpentine belt or alternator here. The hybrid system handles all that. And that hybrid system is where things get genuinely interesting. Honda didn't just copy the market leader, they engineered their own path. It's a two-motor design. One motor is dedicated to starting the engine and generating electricity. The other is connected directly to the wheels to drive the car. They're linked through a unique transmission that uses clutches to manage power flow, not a traditional planetary gear set. Here's how it plays out on the road. In gentle driving, it's a pure F. The engine stays off. When you need more power, the engine can start. But not to drive the wheels directly. Instead, it spins the first motor to generate electricity, which then powers the drive motor. It's an electric series mode. Only at higher, steady-state speeds does a clutch engage to connect the engine mechanically to the wheels for maximum efficiency. This clever dance means you never get the raw, combined shove of engine and motor together, but what you get is something else: incredible smoothness. The 2026 calibration is superb. It feels seamless. The system even simulates gear shifts when the engine is running to provide a more natural feel, even though it's technically a single ratio drive. It avoids the droning sensation some hybrids have. The trade-off: this transmission has physical clutches inside, which adds complexity compared to some frictionless designs. But in practice, it works brilliantly. Now, about all-wheel drive. This isn't a simple electric motor tacked onto the rear axle. This is a proper, mechanical AWD system with a transfer case, a drive shaft, and a rear differential. For 2026, Honda tweaked it to allow a true 50/50 front/rear power split, moving beyond the previous 60/40 setup. They're clearly aiming at the heart of Subaru's market with this change. Let's talk build quality. This US-built model is impressive. Looking around the bay, the cooling system uses robust, crimped hose clamps, no cheap, failure-prone plastic quick connects in sight. The layout is generally logical, with one glaring exception: the air filter box. It's buried at the very back of the engine compartment, near the firewall. Whoever designed this clearly ran out of room and just said, "Put it here." It's the most awkward air filter location I've seen in a long time, a true afterthought. The 12-volt battery, however, is in a normal, easy-to-access spot. The power control unit for the hybrid system has its own dedicated cooling circuit with a separate reservoir, a good sign for managing heat. The main hybrid battery is a lithium-ion pack stored under the cargo floor. Its cooling air intake is under the rear seat, which is a potential concern for clogging over many years of family use. Underneath, the story is mostly positive. The front end has comprehensive covers for aerodynamics and protection. The oil drain plug, however, requires you to remove a large panel, a minor hassle for dyers. The front suspension uses a steel lower control arm with a replaceable ball joint, which is great for repair costs. Up front, you get a substantial 2-piston brake caliper. Moving rearward, the exhaust system is high-quality stainless steel. The driveshaft for the AWD system is well finished. But then we see some cost cutting. The underbody seam sealer application is haphazard in places, with gaps that seem to defeat the purpose. The rear suspension is a simple but effective multi-link setup with an aluminum knuckle to reduce unsprung weight. The rear brakes are a single-piston design with an integrated parking brake. There's also an unused hanger back here, a clue that a different exhaust for another model was an afterthought. On the outside, the 2026 update is subtle. It's a handsome, chiseled design that avoids today's trend of overwrought styling. This Trail Sport model adds aggressive tires and black plastic cladding, which won't be for everyone. The signature vertical taillights instantly identify it as a CUV. My gripe? The badges. It says Hybrid and Trail Sport, but the badge is just a sticker. On a trim boasting off-road pretensions, that feels cheap. The interior is where this car truly shines. Stepping inside feels like a relief. In an era of overwhelming screens and touch-sensitive controls, the CUV is a sanctuary of simplicity. This cabin doesn't fight you for attention, it quietly gets out of your way. The steering wheel is clean and has physical buttons. The climate controls are all physical knobs and buttons with a satisfying click. The vents have a solid, damp feel when you adjust them. Materials are largely hard plastic, but the graining and fit and finish are excellent. It feels durable and well assembled, not cheap. The shifter is a conventional lever, no confusing buttons or knobs. For 2026, the digital gauge cluster is now a larger 10.2-inch display, and the central infotainment screen is updated to a 9-inch unit. It's not a massive, cinema-style screen stretching across the dash, and that's a good thing. It's the right size, it's responsive, and it supports wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto flawlessly. It proves you don't need a gimmick to have good technology. The driving experience mirrors the interior philosophy, refined and unintrusive. The hybrid powertrain is exceptionally smooth and quiet around town. The ride is comfortable, and the cabin is well insulated from road noise. It's not a sports car, nor does it pretend to be. It's a deeply competent, calm, and pleasant vehicle to spend time in. The rear seat is a highlight. There's abundant legroom and knee room. The seat cushion is long and supportive, so your thighs are properly supported. The floor is nearly flat, making the middle seat usable for adults. You get rear vents and USB-C ports. It's spacious and functional, no tricks. Cargo space, however, is the hybrid's compromise. The battery pack sits under the load floor, eliminating the useful storage you get in the gasoline model. The floor is also quite high, which reduces total volume. You can still fold the seats flat for a large space, but the everyday utility is slightly diminished. It's the price you pay for the hybrid system. So, who is this for? The 2026 Honda Accord Hybrid is for the buyer who values sanity. In a segment crowded with aggressive styling, overly complex tech, and polarizing designs, the Accord is a masterclass in thoughtful execution. Its main rival is the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. The RAV4 feels more rugged and has a slight efficiency edge, but the Accord feels more mature, more refined, and significantly more pleasant inside. The Accord isn't trying to be the most exciting car in the lot, it's aiming to be the one you never have to think about. The 2026 updates are subtle because the foundation was already so strong. This is a sophisticated, elegant vehicle not in its looks, but in its operation. Everything feels solid, smooth, and intentional. Are there flaws? Yes. The air filter location is ridiculous. The underbody sealing is sloppy in spots. The hybrid battery eats into cargo space and has a vulnerable cooling intake. But these are nitpicks against a backdrop of superb overall engineering. It feels like a product designed by adults, for adults. If you want a no-drama, reliable, comfortable, and efficient family SUV that will make sense for years to come, the 2026 Accord Hybrid is arguably the smartest choice in its class. It puts the hype back into hypersensible. If this deep dive under the skin of a modern car was helpful, please show your support. Give this video a like and subscribe to Winds of Thought for more content that goes beyond the surface. Thanks for watching.